Hi guys, this is Jennifer, and as promised, I'm sending you more information on captioning resources and sort of how to caption. I think I'd said I'd send you a document, and I think what's going to be better is if I just provide this short screencast. This is probably going to be 10 to 15 minutes, hopefully no more than that, but let's get to it. First off, I'm going to send you this captioning key. It's from the Described and Captioned Media Program, which is a captioning key that a lot of organizations use to do their captioning. This should be very much in line with the webinar recording that you viewed, and it gives you general guidelines, pretty specific guidelines on how to do captioning properly. This is something that you might just want to go through before you really start doing the captioning, and hopefully the things I've done with my captioning match up with this. I won't swear to it, but I think that I match up pretty well because I did look at this in advance. But that's something I'm going to attach to an email and also have in a resources folder. Speaking of resources folders, I'm going to provide you with a link to a folder called Captions and Transcriptions Resources on my Google Drive. And this is going to have the captioning key I just mentioned, and it's going to have the lecture videos that I would like you guys to start with. These are the lecture videos, lecture presentations for modules 5, 6, 7, and 8, and also the transcripts that have already been created for those. And you will be putting these into the cadet interface and creating your captions from these. And I'm going to show you in a second what the cadet interface looks like and sort of how to start with that. But you'll see the transcripts are rich text format, which typically will open up in Word just fine. So you can open it in Word, copy the text from Word, and then paste it into your cadet interface. But I'll show you that in a second. Just to show you a couple of examples of the videos that I've created thus far that might give you an idea of what your captions should look like once they are produced out. This is one of the lecture videos. It's the only one that currently has captions with it right now, and I've got it up on a YouTube account. And this is the Module 4 lecture, and if you'll notice when the thing starts, I'm using the guidelines where we provide who's speaking, and what I typically do, this isn't necessarily followed by everybody, but what I've been doing for the videos is I put the speaker in parentheses. It doesn't matter what this woman's name is. In my opinion, you can just put narrator or whatever you want to put, host, whatever, but in parentheses. And then if there are noises, sounds in the background that are pertinent to the video, you'll put those in brackets, but you can read more about that in the captioning key, and I believe the webinar probably mentions that as well. But let me just show you an example of the way this video goes so you can kind of see how long the lines are and things like that, how I break them using prepositional phrases. And also when a sentence ends, I go to the next line to start the new sentence, and so on. Every now and then you may see that I break this rule, but for the most part, that's what I do. So let's take a quick look at this one.
Welcome to Strategic Cybersecurity, Module 4. This module discusses a few technical cybersecurity concepts to make the rest of the course most meaningful. In Module 2, we looked at how digital information is stored and translated into textual data. In this module, we look at the domain name system.
So you can see there, I don't always follow the rules that well. Some of these lines, like a service that translates domain names, if you counted those characters, that might run over 32 characters, but you do the best you can. The breaks will just sort of come automatically to you. You'll get a sense for how long is too long and be able to break them appropriately. I'm going to show you one other example. This was, as I said, a lecture video. The other one that I'm going to show you is one that's not a lecture video, it's one of the third-party videos. And this is one I created the SRT captions file for, provided that to the third party, the guy who has it on his YouTube account, and he then put it into his YouTube video. So thankfully I've had some pretty good luck with the third parties doing that for me. This is a pretty interesting video, but that has nothing to do with anything. But just watch how I've done the captioning here so you can get a sense of how you might do it as well.
Was the internet invented to be a government weapon? Who invented it? Where did the idea come from? How do ideas like the internet even happen? All this and more in what's probably going to be the longest episode of this series, but stick with me. It's relatively short considering the scope of what we're going to cover, what the internet really is, and how it came to be, and why most everything else you've read about its history is wrong, or at least drastically oversimplified.
So this one you'll get a sense of using proper punctuation, using commas when you need to use commas, using periods when you need to use periods, capitalizing when you need to capitalize. That is definitely important in providing good captioning. The next thing I want to show you is, let's see, I guess what I can show you here is the YouTube interface itself. If you want to do your captions via YouTube, I mean, that would be fine, but it might be a little bit difficult. I just find Cadet easier to use. So let's say that I want to use the YouTube captioning. I go to my video manager in YouTube and I'd find the specific video I want to look at. Now this one I've already provided the captions for, but let's say that I want to edit them. I go to Subtitles CC, and just keep in mind subtitles are really not the same as captioning, but you can learn more about that later. I currently have two sets of captions here, which the English automatic are the ones that YouTube did automatically, and I probably should have just gotten rid of that, but I'll leave it there for now. English, this is the one that I had created and uploaded the SRT for. If I click it, here on the left you'll see that the captions that I uploaded are there. Now actually what might be the better case is if I show you the automatic captions so that you would know how to edit those yourself. So let's go back, and let's say the only ones you had available were these automatic. You could click on those and you'll see when they pop up, you can see there aren't any capitalizations, no punctuation. So if you aim to use the YouTube interface to do your editing, you're going to have to do a lot of edits, and I won't swear that these lines end at 32 characters. I'm not sure how YouTube's set up. It might limit the lines, so you might be in good shape, but I wouldn't bet on it. You'd hit the edit button here and give it a couple of seconds. So here you can see the captions are here, the automatic captions, and you can then edit them. So you'd have to go in, you'll have to get rid of the things that need to be gotten rid of, put your capitalizations and so on in. And if you want to put something up on another line, you'll have to click where you want, put a space, hit the delete key, and so on. So you can see what's going on, but it is a little bit difficult to make that happen. But it's doable. Once you do it, you then save your changes, and that would save as your caption file. Again, I'm not a big fan of that, but if you want to do it that way, that's fine. Now, the last thing I want to show you is how to bring your stuff into Cadet to work with it. So I have my shortcut for Cadet here somewhere. Oh, one thing I should tell you is your videos, your caption files, all that stuff has to be on your computer. Don't try saving them on an external drive, because I've opened Cadet and then searched for my files on an external drive, a flash drive or whatever, and I can't seem to make it locate an external drive. You might have better luck, but as far as I know, you have to have all your stuff on your computer. So we'll open up the shortcut, and here it is. Now my screen is a very small 13-inch screen here. I've been working on a larger monitor, but just for this I'm using just my computer screen. So I have to make some adjustments to my fields to keep them from overlapping. And these little things in the corner, these little handles, will enable you to enlarge or make smaller depending on how you want to do it. Okay, there are 3 basic blocks. There's one is where you're going to be working with the captions, one is where the media file, the video file is going to go, and one is going to tell you what's going on inside Cadet, which you'll be able to see this better on your own screen. There's a menu here, and as you can see, you can start a new project. You can open up a project that's existing already if you want to. You can then save your project. If you haven't saved the project yet, save it as something. You can open up your media to get ready to start something. You can also import things if you want to make some adjustments, and then you can export as a plain text file, an SRT, and so on. That's where you're going to save things as an SRT. You can do some edits. Let's say you create a caption block in here and then you realize, oh, I need to get rid of that. This is where you do that. You click inside and then click delete block. You can find things. I recommend if you're looking for a phrase, let's say you've gone through and then you realize, oh, it should have been spelled this way. You can start from the top is my recommendation, and then hit that find, edit find, and find your material, because from what I gather, from what I've experienced, if I'm in the middle after I've already messed up some of my captions, it's only going to search from the point that I'm at in the captions. So go all the way up to the top to do your search. Style, I'm not currently really using this simply because I'm exporting as an SRT to go into the YouTube video. And from what I read, YouTube doesn't really allow for much of this kind of stuff as far as formatting. So I don't really bother with this. If you want to, that's fine, but just keep in mind it may not stick when we put it into YouTube. I don't really use this, although you might if you want to insert a row before, after, clear the editor entirely, that type of thing. But that's your work, however you choose to do it. And this too I don't really use, but if you need the video to go slower or faster, whatever, you might use those tools. If you get done with your video and then somehow have to make a change, you may have to offset your time codes, and you might even want to check your time codes. I did a caption file just a couple of days ago, went to export it, and I got an error message that one of my time codes was wrong, and it did show me in this area where what line the problem was at, so I was able to go and fix it. But testing it before you do anything might be a good idea. So let's start. Let's say that we're starting one of the lectures. I'll go to File and I'm going to open up the media, and my media right now I've got in a folder called Videos. So let's say I'm going to work with the Module 5 lecture video. I'm going to click on that. So you'll be searching your computer for wherever you've stored that MP4 file. If you were assigned to the Module 5 video, then you will have downloaded that to your computer and you'll find it. This is a 9-minute 12-second video, and then I'm going to need to copy and paste my transcript that I know exists. So I've got my Module 5 transcript here, rich text format. I'm going to open it up in Word. I'm going to do a Control-All to select it all. Then I'm going to do Control-C to copy it all. I'm going to go back into my Cadet interface. I'm going to click inside the caption area. Control-V will paste it all. Now I've got some excess blank lines here at the bottom. I'm going to backspace out of those so those don't exist anymore. Anything blank that is not necessary, get rid of, even blank spaces before and after words. So these at the top I'm getting rid of. And what I would recommend doing is, what I've been doing, it might take a little extra time, but I think it's worth it, is I go ahead and I get my caption segments, or blocks, I guess you could call them, my caption blocks figured out. Then I go back and time everything. So here I want this to be Welcome to Strategic Cybersecurity, first line. Get rid of that blank space, hit enter, Module 5, and I want that block to end right there. So I'm going to backspace and double enter to create a new block. So now I technically have two blocks. I have my first block, I have my second block, but it's the rest of the transcript. So then I'm going to say, as your readings for this module have noted, I'm going to make as your readings the first line of the second block, hit enter. For this module have noted, I'm going to make that my second line of my second block, double enter, and now I've got the two created. Now I'm going to do the internet was originally designed to be, and I'll leave that there. And that's all you do. You go through and you make things as close to 32 characters if you can, but also spaced out properly with prepositional phrases created accurately and so on. Once you've gone through that whole thing, then you're ready to start doing the timings. So you'll click into the start area, and this will take you some practice to figure out exactly how this works. But you'll click the start area, and to start the video playing, I'm not sure if this works from the very beginning, but it'll work once we get started. Hit the control spacebar. Okay, let me stop that for a second. This is, as you can see and hear, this is just a bunch of music, and then the narrator is going to come up. So you don't want Welcome to Strategic Cybersecurity starting just yet. What you want to do is enter a block that says music or something like that, and enter a block that says narrator, because the narrator is going to be speaking. So if you remember, up here somewhere there was a place to insert a row before. And let's do it one more time, because we're going to need one for music. And I'm going to do bracket music, and then here I'm going to do, I'm just using, this is the style I've been using, so I'd kind of recommend it just because it makes it a little bit easier that way. The music started just before the 4 seconds, so to back up easily I hit Control Shift and G, and you can see it's going backwards. So basically then I'm kind of going back to restart it, and you can keep that Control Shift G down for as long as you want, and it'll keep going back to where you want to stop it. So now I'm going to start it over, and when I'm ready to make that music be timed, that it tells me what time it starts, I'll hit Control comma. So let's get started again. Control space, Control comma. There we go.
Welcome to Strategic Cybersecurity, Module 5. As your readings for this module have noted, the internet was originally designed to be...
Okay, you'll see I kind of got myself messed up, and I was too slow on the draw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete a couple of these. So let's delete a couple of these spaces. And we're going to start this all over again at this point. So let's go Control Shift G a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to hit Control Space, and then I'll see the narrator thing show up, and when I'm ready for the welcome, that's when I have to hit Control comma.
Welcome to Strategic Cybersecurity, Module 5. As your readings for this module have noted, the internet was originally designed to...
Okay, so you can kind of get an idea there. The keys are Control space bar to operate the video player, Control comma to insert your times, and Control period would be, let's say you want to stop the captions for a little bit. Let's say that there's some silence that goes on for a long time, and after 2 or 3 seconds you want to end that caption that says silence. You'd use a Control period there, but I won't get into that too much. So that's pretty much it. What you're going to end up at the end then is a captions file that's got the caption blocks and times with those. Then, to be sure that it all works properly, you can rewind yourself and see if the captions show up well.
Welcome to Strategic Cybersecurity.
Okay, my first one, the narrator one, probably I should have hit this one at about 7 seconds instead of 9, and then the welcome to probably should have come at about 8 seconds. But that's the type of thing then you can adjust yourself and go back and play with to make sure it works better. It gets a lot easier as you go on to do your timings properly, but you have to stay completely focused, or else you forget to hit the control comma to make things work. So that's just a general idea of how all this works. As I said, I'll provide the files to you in Google Drive. You'll download them to your computer, and then you'll practice working with this. There is a help section in the cadet area, and I highly suggest you use that. You might want to use keyboard shortcuts, and there's even a user forum. So if you have questions, give me an email, email me, Jen, Jen, at jenperkins.com. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.